The previous strike from our Harriers has been a major success, following the sinking of one of the Slava-class cruisers in the Soviet Navy. We believe that the Soviet Carrier Task Force has stopped and is currently picking up sailors out of the water. Currently, the United States Air Force's B-52s have finally come within striking distance with their Harpoon missiles. We're going to utilize them in destroying the Kirov. Meanwhile, HMS Ark Royal is prepping to defend itself from a Soviet carrier task force. What is going on, Task Force Viper, and welcome back to Sea Power Naval Combat in the Missile Age, where we are diving straight into striking this Kirov battle group here. Off to our right side of these B-52s, I'm picking up a couple of radar contacts. I'm actually not sure if that's the Russian Carrier Task Force or not, but I'm not about to give them any hints. We're gonna keep our ships here under very strict MCON as to not alert the task force to our presence here, because that would just not be good for anybody involved. We shot down a helicopter that came probably, I want to say, within 35 or 40 miles of our task force at the end of the last episode, and I'm hoping that that didn't give away our position, because I don't know if these United Kingdom ships have the ability to defend themselves from what is essentially just the onslaught of the Kirov. Our Harriers have finally made their way back from their strike, and we did unfortunately lose one immediately following the strike on that Slava. But 11 of the 12 have come back. I think we initially sent 12, but yes, they have come back, thankfully. And what we're gonna try to do with these guys is get them down, get them on the deck, and start rearming and refueling and getting them ready to go back up. I'm probably gonna end up using at least 3 or 4 of them and getting them set up for some sort of air-to-air intercept or a long-range air-to-air loadout, seeing as, like I said, the helicopter got pretty close, and I don't know if it was able to report our location to the Soviet Carrier Task Force, but I'm also not trying to be caught with my pants down when 14 or 15 Yak 38s dive out of the sky and I don't know about it. New air contacts. Yeah, so it appears that they're sending another... It appears that they're sending another helicopter over here. Let's get our surface search on these big 52s and see if we can identify these guys off to our right. Because they can detect these B-52s all they want, but I highly doubt that the Yaks even have the range to get up to this altitude and then close in with any sort of weapons to be able to take these B-52s down. Harriers are still over here in their holding pattern. And over there to that left side, while it is an unidentified aerial contact, it is obviously a helicopter. And last I checked, I don't think Bill Gates is flying his helicopter out in the middle of an active combat zone. So it's more than likely gonna be some sort of Soviet reconnaissance helicopter. I believe that they may be looking and checking for submarines. I'm thinking that's what they're doing, is they're trying to use sonar buoys to try and detect any submarines we may have in the area. But to be fair, the only sub we even really had in the area was USS Archerfish, and well, she's currently at the bottom of the ocean right now. Now, I know I was saying in the last video that I may not make a continuation of this little mini-series that we got going on. However, over the past couple of days, I really have done some thinking on that, and I'm thinking that I'm going to kind of turn this into a dynamic campaign, as to where I'm going to measure NATO and Soviet losses. And what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to call this the beginning of I don't want to say a full-out war, but definitely the beginning of some naval skirmishes here and there. You see, but then again, going back to the last couple of episodes of sinking this force that was coming through, I guess you could say technically NATO would be the aggressors there, seeing as we launched our aircraft first. But yes, I have decided I am indeed going to turn this into a little mini-series here. I mean, potentially not a mini-series, and it come out to be something that's, I mean, Lord willing, I can keep the subscribers and the views, and you guys can stay, you know, with me and bear with me, and you guys are enjoying the content. You know, hopefully we can turn this into a 35, 40, potentially 100 video little thing here. And we can have us a really interesting, fun little dynamic campaign here set in 1990. Because anybody that doesn't know anything or has never really played Sea Power, there's a lot of mods going around because there's a lot of updates being thrown around where a lot of mods can't be used anymore, and if you try to use them, it'll crash your game or the game just won't load. So you've got to be really selective with what mods, and that's why I don't post the mods I use down in the comment, or down in the description, sorry. But I'm going to go ahead and start vectoring these B-52s off to the left here. And just really trying to get them away from that carrier task force that I know is off to the right. And I'm going to just 100% turn my efforts towards sinking the Kirov, because I full-heartedly believe that if I sink the Kirov, which is just as an important capital ship as, I mean, the Kuznetsov aircraft carrier, that they would, that carrier task force would definitely reconsider coming anywhere near here. But to be fair, with the United States being the attacking aggressor, that's probably what the Soviet Union is thinking, because we never came within visual range, so they probably have no idea that they were actually struck by Harriers. So I'm just thinking, right, the Soviet Union is going, okay, but we're still under attack by the United States, and now that more carrier-based aircraft have shown up, they're thinking, okay, the United States doesn't have that one carrier task force, they've got 2 carrier task force out here. So I'm hoping this can kind of scare them off. That, or they're going to go back and regroup, and, well, we can make that another video for another day. Add on to this little series we got going on here set in the 1990s. HMS Ark Royal still recovering all of her aircraft here. Now, it looks like it's going to be more than a few minutes before I can get these guys rearmed and refueled and back up. And it's about 8 minutes to get them. What do you call that? It's about 8 minutes to get them all set up when you're setting up 8, 9, and 10 of them. It takes about 8 minutes to get them all rearmed. And clearly there it's going to take more than a couple of minutes to get these guys refueled and debriefed, so. But we are definitely going to try to get these carriers airborne as soon as humanly possible. Okay, our B-52s are now picking up the Kirov task force. And we are within range. So let's go ahead and have these B-52s fire all their harpoons. And I'm hoping that this is the last strike that we have to make here. Why they've randomly decided to start climbing, I don't know. If anybody knows why they dropped their harpoons and immediately started climbing, please let me know. These harpoons rushing toward the sea here to go into their sea skimming mode. And the harpoons are off to the fucking races here, headed straight for this Kirov battle group. I'm assuming this battle group is running radar, seeing as they have just lost another capital ship.
Whip it away! Whip it away! Whip it
And
away!
it appears that the B-52s are launching the rest of their harpoons. So these harpoons are actually going to come in 2 waves here. And I'm hoping that this first wave catches them off guard and the second wave is able to sink them. And these B-52s aren't turning around. Obviously, they don't have a base to go back to that's on the map. So I'm just going to send them back toward the UK, which is where they would have come from.
Roger, go to altitude 370, roger, cruise.
And until these guys can calm the hell down on their speed, conserve fuel. And these B-52s are going to start their very long trek back to the United Kingdom. So I guess here, ladies and gents, we are going to witness the power of just 3 B-52 Stratofortresses. Who really didn't have to come within range of shit. Thankfully, they weren't targeted. Use a little bit of time compression here to move these harpoons up. Just so we're not sitting around waiting for the next 30 minutes on a harpoon strike here. And like I said, if you guys would like to see this series continue, please let me know, because I'm really starting to get into this whole sea power thing. Okay, we have missiles out from the fleet. We've got flak from the fleet. I believe it's a Sovereign Mini over there to the right, and that's the Kirov directly ahead of us. Yes, that's definitely a Sovereign Mini based on the way those missiles are coming out of those launchers. Kirov should be launching Sea Whiz here. Really? No Sea Whiz from the Kirov? What's gonna suck to be the Kirov?
015.
Direct hits from the Kirov. Her starboard side is absolutely demolished. I don't think, just because she's such a massive ship, I don't think that's enough harpoons to sink her. I think maybe 4 or 5 harpoons got through. So like I said, I don't believe that's enough harpoons to sink her. But if we can get that second strike of harpoons in, she should definitely be on her way to the bottom here. Which, there are multiple fires raging on her decks. I mean, as you can see, I mean, it clearly hasn't phased her. I mean, she slowed down, but she's still chugging along. Her engines are still running. Her damage control teams are doing their thing here. No hits below the waterline, so she's probably not even flooding. And here come this second wave of harpoons, and they're going to be absolutely devastating.
Hit track 70.
Okay, she's definitely going down now. Yeah. Yeah, her bow's dipping down into the water, and I know because of those holes she's taking on every bit of that way as she is. I mean, how that was enough harpoons to take down a fucking Nimitz. Yeah, she is definitely gonna sink below the waves here. By this point, she's definitely called into that Russian carrier task force that she's going down. If she even still has comms, or at least the rest of the Soviet fleet is getting in contact with that carrier task force and letting them know the Kirov's gone. Yeah, they've abandoned ship. All right, and the good thing about that, I mean, she's still moving. She's still under her own power moving forward. Unless that's just momentum. Yeah, by this point, that Soviet carrier task force has definitely turned around. Those Sabermany destroyers are turning around and they're coming back to pick up their sailors out of the water. But all right, that is the sinking of the Kirov. Yeah, she's going down. The water's put the fires out. And she is on her way to the bottom. So I can definitely see this becoming a series here, especially now that NATO, it's not just the United States, now that NATO has sank the Kirov, I can see this becoming a very, very interesting roleplay scenario here. And she's just gonna go bow first. Yeah, her prop's not turning anymore. Well, here these guys are in the middle of the water. And as I said, I assume these Sabermany destroyers are making the hardest U-turn they've ever made to come back and get their sailors out of the water, and she's gonna slowly Titanic here. To hear her hull shaking as she sinks beneath the waves. Sorry. Well, all right. Well, let's see a damage assessment here. Yeah, so we damaged the Sabermany. The Slav and the Kirov are gone. We destroyed that one Kirov, or that one helo in air, and those two helos that were aboard the Kirov. Well, everybody, it's been an absolute blast. I'm going to go ahead and start working on that next video for you guys in this little series here, and I will see you in the next one, and as always, stay frosty.